Hi, thanks for watching my lesson. This is on Where Did You Sleep Last Night, which was performed by Nirvana at their 1994 MTV Live in New York Unplugged session. It's a cover of a Lead Belly song. Pretty straightforward. It's a good beginner song because it's the same progression over and over again. There's an easy way and a hard way. I will be looking at both ways in this lesson. Nothing really more to say than that. Let's get started. The MTV Unplugged version is tuned to E flat, so half a step down. I'm keeping this in standard because I suspect that's easier for most people. But if you want to play along to the album, or if you're singing in the same kind of vocal range as Kurt Cobain, turn it down half a step. But we're not going to, so let's get started. So the whole song is just the same progression over and over again. It's in 3/4 time, like a waltz time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're not going to count to 4, we're going to count to 3. And all it really is an E chord for 2 bars, an A chord for 1 bar, a G chord for 1 bar, a B major for 2 bars, and then back to E chord for 2 bars. And then you start again, so you end up with 4 bars in a row of the E. Now the E is played as an E5, which is the same as the About a Girl, which I've just done a video on. Link below if you want more Nirvana. As well as the full song PDF and the tab of the intro, which is a bit different, and the chord diagrams all below if you need them. But the E5 is essentially Kurt Cobain's way quite often of playing an E chord, so it's neither major or minor. It is an E power chord in effect because it is taking away the 3rd. We do that by making an E minor and collapsing our whatever fingers holding the 2nd fret of the D string. We are muting the G string. So we've taken away the minor tonality and the major. It's quite ambiguous. Now, I mentioned this in another video. I don't know if this is intentional. I presume it is. I'd be surprised if it's accidental. And it's kind of it gives Nirvana a kind of unique sound in a lot of their songs because he does that with his bar chords and his power chords as well, where he's muting the 3rd quite often. So we're going to play E5. If you're learning this as a beginner, then play E minor. It's going to work. E minor will work. Sorry, not E minor, E major. If you're a beginner, play this as E major if you want to, but feel free to try the E5 by muting that G string. Do not play it as E minor, that will sound wrong. Play it as E major or be authentic and E5. Kurt Cobain, for those of you a bit more interested, can bend that finger back like that, so he holds it like this. So 1 finger holding the 2 and muting the G and still managing to keep those 2 open underneath. And then moves that down to hold the A major in the same way. So we've got the E5 for 2 bars. And the strumming we do for each bar. Down, up, down. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and. We then go A major 1 bar, to G for 1 bar. We can do whatever type of G we want, open G. So I'm using that one. You can do that one, that one. See a diagram if you need it for the one I'm using. Then we go to B major. This is a tricky chord for a lot of my students. This is one of the harder bar chord shapes. Essentially it's an A shape at the 2nd fret with the bar on the 2. So what we really want to hear is 2, 4, 4, 4, 2 on the A, 4 on the D, G, and B strings. To do a proper bar chord, you'd also hear 2 on the E, and you'd have a muted E, low E there. If you can bend that knuckle and you can do that, that's the best way. Some people have to do it like that, which is also fine, as I find that a bit tricky. I prefer that way. And that's all of the chords. E5, A for 1 bar, G for 1 bar, B for 2 bars, back to E for 2 bars. So we wanted to play a real easy version, so this is effectively a beginner version. We would play E major to A major to G, and then instead of the B bar chord you would do a B7, which is an open chord. It's the only open B chord we can do. 2, 1, 2, open, 2. That's a good substitute for a major chord. You can often use a dominant 7 instead of a major chord if you have to. So E major, 2 bars, A 1 bar, G 1 bar, B7 2 bars, finish with E for 2 bars. Start again, E. Okay, so that's your easy version. The proper Nirvana version, E5, 2 bars. Normal A 1 bar, normal G 1 bar, B major 2 bars, E5 2 bars. Okay, whole song, both versions there, beginner and hard. But we have an intro which is slightly different for the harder version, the more authentic one. I'm going to show you that now. So I think, and I could be wrong because I haven't seen anyone else ever say this, I think for the very start of the song he's E5 is using a different voicing where it's 0, 2, 2, 4, 0, 0. That sounds a little bit more like it. They are basically the same chord, so the G string is either muted or the 4 is being held on the G string. So you would hold that 0, your first finger would hold the 2 and the 2 on the A and the D, your pinky or your ring finger would hold the 4th fret on the G string, and you'd have these two open underneath. I only think he's doing it at the start of the song, and he might not be doing it at all, but it's something to try. It's quite a nice way to do it. Then we have this. So before we go to the A, this only happens twice at the start of the song. The first 2 times he plays a chord progression. Before we go to the A chord, we have this double hammer on. We pick the E string, hammer onto 2, and then hammer onto 3. And then immediately play the A chord. So it sounds like this. Okay, I've tabbed that out in the PDF so you can see that. So you're doing the strumming progression on the first bar. And then for the second bar, you're hearing the first down, the second up, sorry, the first down, and then the up that follows it, and then straight to A. And that's the other variation. The first bar of the B, you're just doing your normal down, up strumming pattern. But the second bar, again, this is just for the intro I think, you're moving your root on the A string to 2, up to 4. Sorry, up to 2 on the E string. So 2 to 2. So the first bar of the B. And then when we move that up there, we're getting 2 down strums. And then the third one, you're just picking that 2, you do a little micro bend. Back to E. It's just timing on that's a bit fiddly, but it makes sense. So this is how the intro is played. One more time. So I think I actually do, on that second bar of the B, I'm kind of doing a bit of bend on the second strum as well. That's it, it really is, that's the whole song. I don't think there's any variation. I think later in the song where he's really kind of screaming, possibly everything holds on the B. I might be wrong about that. So that's it. Yeah, great song. I'll see you for the next few. We've still got Come As You Are and Man Who Sold the World from this album. So hopefully see you for those, and take care.